Okay, so this is a response to a video by V on his Lack of Entertainment channel. The video question was why realism is important and why different films have allowed different levels of unrealism. So let's run the intro and get into it. So the answer is very simply immersion. Any act or level of unrealisticness is allowed so long as it doesn't break your immersion. All movies, TV shows and animes require you to have different levels of suspension of disbelief. A realistic movie like a rom-com only requires a small dose, allowing for implausible events to happen, but because your suspension of disbelief is of a level to allow these unrealistic events of lesser value to happen, you can still watch and enjoy the movie. A typical action movie, on the other hand, will require a much higher level of suspension of disbelief, but still lesser than other genres, say a sci-fi or many anime stories. This higher level of disbelief allows for guns that don't need to be reloaded, everything to be explosive, and the main character having a really high dodge stat. The example V uses of an unrealistic event is shown here.
And then you get to see like the weirdest thing ever. The car goes towards a broken bridge, rams itself into the pillar, and you get like the rope wrapping around the car, and then the car flies around the mountain, pretty much like Tarzan on a rope.
First, a note on the clip itself. Here is the actual clip talked about.
Tell me you're not thinking what I think you're thinking. There's no bridge!
Oh, hell no.
Now, having watched the full trailer, this was by far not the most implausible thing in the Fast and Furious series, or even that specific trailer. The Fast and Furious movies have got progressively more unrealistic, and a scene like that in the first movie would definitely break immersion without question. But no one is going to watch Fast and Furious 9 expecting a realistic car movie. A car could literally do anything, even turn into a transformer, and it may not break immersion in the 9th. Especially after watching Hobbs and Shaw. But V's real problem is he falls into the fallacy of composition. He argues that it would be allowed in an anime, so why wouldn't it be allowed in a movie? Well, the answer is simple and it comes in 2 points. The first of which is it wouldn't be allowed in every anime, and the second of which is it would be allowed in some movies. So I'll explain point 1 first. This is where the fallacy of composition comes in. Anime as a genre is much less realistic than the typical TV show. As such, a viewer subconsciously understands this and allows a greater level of suspension of disbelief to accommodate the implausible events. Different anime genres have different levels of realism. A slice of life anime is likely to be much more realistic than an isekai. Take one of my favourite animes for example, My Roommate is a Cat. It's about an introverted author who adopts a cat, through which he's gradually able to have more experience and become a more outgoing person. It's very heartwarming and fun anime, you should watch it. But the suspension of disbelief is only small. It allows for the cat's perspective to be shown, but nothing much more than that. If the car scene would appear in this, it would definitely break immersion, as the level of unrealisticness is much greater than the level of suspension of disbelief the viewer allows. This one scene probably wouldn't ruin the entire series for me, but once you lose immersion it's hard to regain it, so it may knock the series down from a 9 out of 10 to more like a 7. Ree himself comes to this conclusion without realising it.
But why is it the same story, like literally the same story, could work in a Devil May Cry game, but it's not going to work in one of these action-packed movies?
So on to point 2. It may be allowed for a movie. It's all about consistency within the film universe. It's the reason why we can accept a TV show like Happy, where a hitman has a heart attack and can suddenly see his daughter's imaginary friend, and many other unrealistic events in Happy. It's because it doesn't present itself as a realistic show. This is also the reason V says this.
I think I have like something that everyone is going to roll their eyes when they see it. And it's got to do with the trailer from the new... Well, actually, I'm not even going to name the movie, right? Because then it might influence your decision.
If we knew the clip was from Fast and Furious, we would see it differently. As a standalone clip, it's preposterous, but as a Fast and Furious scene, it's rather tame. To give an internal example, it's the reason why people can accept the boulder in Indiana Jones. The viewer of an adventure mystery film exploring ancient ruins do not expect realism. The mechanisms behind the traps know to be possible, just possible within the internal universe. An example of this going the other way is the end of the Crystal Skull. Although the implausibility of the skull's creation is repeatedly questioned, it is plausible in the viewer's minds and imagination, so it won't break their immersion. But the alien in the spaceship at the end breaks immersion, as Indiana Jones as a series only asks viewers to suspend their disbelief about religious and cultural factors like the Ark of the Covenant. Bringing aliens and spaceships into it was far out of the expected realism, so it broke the viewer's immersion. It is the reason why almost anything is allowed in cartoons, and any technical MacGuffin is allowed in Star Trek. As a final point, it's also important to remember that because a YouTuber points out flaws in the film does not mean he didn't smile in the scene or enjoy the movie as a whole. I can watch a movie and directly follow it by the correlating episode of Cinema Sins and love the movie anyway. But that's all I've got for today. I've tried to explain my point concisely without using too many examples. I hope you found it interesting. If you disagree with me, tell me why in the comments. Otherwise, have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.